From Los Angeles, I'm Eddie Garcia. He is Doug Stolhand. Thanks for joining us for another edition of the Puck Podcast. It is Monday, November the 10th, 2025. This is the first period of a three-period podcast. First period, which some of you are watching on YouTube, will cover all the news from the past week in the NHL, including another outdoor game in Texas. Second period, we're going to review all the games from the past week in the NHL, and I mean all the games. And in the third period, it'll be our fan feedback segment. We relist our emails, also have our off-ice report, talk about what's going on in our lives. You can find all three periods on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts. If you like what you're seeing, please like and subscribe.
We started this show back in July 22nd, 2006, and have done at least one episode every week since. We are the NHL show of record and the original NHL hockey podcast. On this show, we cover all 32 teams equally, and we start every week with the top story of the week. So let's find out what that is.
Yeah, not a lot of big stories this week. We didn't have any major signings or anything like that, but we did find out that we will have another outdoor game in the state of Texas. This one making some news because of where it will be. You might remember that the Dallas Stars played the Nashville Predators back in the Cotton Bowl in 2020. This time, Cowboys Stadium in 2027. They made the announcement during the Monday Night Football Countdown show, which was at Cowboys Stadium as the Cowboys were taking on the Cardinals. So nice to get a little plug there of NHL news in the NFL coverage. So this one will, like I said, get a little bit more spotlight because it is being held at a very big venue that's hosted a lot of amazing events. The Cotton Bowl was, I mean, a venerable old stadium to be sure, but it's old, and I think they only play one college football game a year there now, the Oklahoma-Texas game, I believe. But yeah, this is kind of a bigger step up, I guess, in venue. Don't know the opponent that the Dallas Stars will be facing in this game, but yeah, Cowboys Stadium, 2027, Dallas Stars against TBD.
And for those of you that watch NFL football, you may be saying, is that an outdoor stadium? Technically, I think they have a roof, right, that they rarely open for Jerry World.
It's a good question. I don't actually know. Maybe it's kind of like the stadium in Los Angeles I was just at, where it's covered, but it's not enclosed.
I think SoFi here in Los Angeles is unique in that regard, that it's open on both sides. So it's open
Right.
air, but it's completely covered from and protected from the elements. All seats are protected other than wind and cold, but we don't get much of either in Southern California.
I think I
So
told you I've been to Arizona many times, the stadium in Arizona, which has had a few name changes where the Cardinals play.
yep.
And I had never known that the roof opened until the last time we went and they opened up the roof. I was like, wait a minute. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I don't have an answer to that. Maybe I can look it up real quick.
Look that up, because otherwise I think it's just a big indoor event, and I'm not sure that there's an outdoor element to it. There must be a roof that opens that we're not seeing. And like I said, for the majority of Cowboys home games, I believe the roof is closed, but it must be an option, and it's one of those that is rarely activated because of acoustics or weather or whatever.
The answer is yes. AT&T Stadium has a retractable roof. The roof can open in approximately 12 minutes to reveal the Texas sky, according to the internet. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how often they do it, but
Well,
according
then
to
there you
this,
go. Then this will
there
be
you go.
a true outdoor game, unless it is raining, in which case 12 minutes away from having it closed and playing hockey. But it'll be an amazing event for fans in Dallas and whichever visiting fans go. I have not been to the stadium commonly known as Jerry World, but I have not been there, but I've never heard a bad word about it. It's massive. It was lampooned in The Simpsons when it first opened as being a stadium that had its own zoo and its own mall. And Homer went to a game and never actually saw the game because he was doing everything else. But it's a massive stadium, and it'll be a great venue for one of the NHL's marquee events. And Dallas, which should still be a strong team in 2027, should be a good host, and I'm sure that they will have no problem selling tickets. And whatever visiting team comes in, I might venture a guess that it'll be the Blackhawks because, God forbid, they not be involved in an outdoor game. The NHL gets real squirrely when an original six team is not involved in an outdoor game. So I would guess the Blackhawks, and they can justify it by saying, well, look how good they should be by then with Bedard and Nazar and Spencer Knight and all the teams. So
if I could give you your selection of any team, do you have a team that you would select? I assume it would be a Western Conference team.
yeah, it would be Colorado.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're the best team in the NHL. They have the best players in the NHL, and that should be, and that's a
And there's history
rival.
between those two teams.
Yeah,
as well.
it's a division rival, and that would be a great game. That's a game that I think is justifiable as a marquee event in the NHL.
Makes sense. That would make sense. We'll see who it is. Other than that, the typical amount of injury news, we did have a bit of a surprise as it was reported that Chris Tanev, who took that big hit last week, was taken off the ice on a stretcher for the Toronto Maple Leafs. They say he does not have a concussion and did not suffer a concussion on that play, even though he had just had a concussion. But that was the report. But he is hurt. He is out of action until further notice. He's on injured reserve. But I was very surprised to see that was apparently not the case.
Well, I don't see why they would lie to us.
I don't either. Yeah, but
it is surprising. It is surprising. We know how susceptible players are once they have suffered a concussion to suffering a second or third or multiple concussions, especially that close of proximity to one. So that was surprising to see, but very good to see, because if it's not a concussion, and then as we've talked about in recent weeks, you can get a pretty firm timeline, or at least there's a path of treatment to get somebody recovered from another injury. If it is a collarbone injury, a shoulder injury, or something of that nature, you can get a recovery, a treatment program that'll get them back on the ice in a set amount of time. Whereas a concussion is, we'll check in with you tomorrow and see how you're doing. And eventually you advance to where you can skate. We see how that goes, and there's setbacks, and it's never a clear path. So that's good news for Chris Tanev.
We did get news that Washington Capitals center Pierre-Luc Dubois will miss the next 3 to 4 months. Apparently he had surgery on his abdominal and adductor muscles. So there you go. Something else. I don't know. I've heard of that before, but I don't know where it is. Adductor muscle, somewhere in your mid region there.
Well, I looked it up. It's on the inside of your body. So that's all I know.
Well, very good.
Few external muscles.
Yeah, I suppose so.
I can think of two.
Oh. Penguins forward Philip Hallander.
Why is that a bad thing? It's human nature.
Yeah. Penguins forward Philip Hallander is going to be out at least 3 months with a blood clot. I also saw that Sabres forward Yuri Kulik has been placed on IR with blood clot issues as well. So I'm assuming he will be out for at least several weeks as well. We've seen these during our time, and we've seen a lot of things during our time hosting this show. But blood clot issues have been is something that does happen with hockey players. I don't know. Maybe I just don't pay enough attention to it. I don't know that I hear this frequently with other sports. Maybe it's.
I mean, you pay close attention to the NHL. You don't pay close attention to baseball or basketball. I've heard them with football. I would ask our doctor friends, Dr. Puck, and other medical professionals, yes, around the world that are listening to the show, because my layman understanding of this is this as common? Is this something that is just something that is 15% of the population has, and so then 15% of hockey should have it? Or is this maybe something that, because of the training or the supplements that they take, that this might be more susceptible to it, might be a side effect of that could cause clotting issues? I don't know either way, but it does seem like to us as the non-medical professionals just watching, because I know I've seen them in the NFL as well, and I just wonder if it's something that's just common, and that's no different than the average person. You wouldn't know if people had blood clots around your office or around your school, but we hear about it in sports because it takes them out of the lineup, and we as fans need to know, why is somebody not in the lineup?
Just some other injury news. I mentioned the Penguins goalie Tristan Jarry and forward Justin Brazeau, who's been really good this year, both on injured reserve. Sharks young forward Michael Misa on injured reserve. Devils defenseman Dougie Hamilton out at least a week with a lower body injury. Flames defenseman Zane Parekh week to week with an upper body injury. You got Bruins forward Elias Lindholm on injured reserve. Casey Middlestat, also of Boston, is week to week. The Flyers placed forward Tyson Forster on injured reserve, lower body injury, and the Ducks Radko Gudas placed on injured reserve as well. And the Hurricanes placed defenseman Jaden Chatfield and defenseman Shane Gostisbehere both on injured reserve. More on Chatfield in just a second.
Yeah, it's I mean, as we've talked about for 20 years now, and as every sports fan knows, no team gets through a season without injuries. And the only thing you can hope for is that they're as minor as possible. And when they come back, they've completely recovered. So hopefully all of those players that you just listed are back as soon as possible and are fully recovered when they return.
Buffalo Sabres captain Rasmus Dahlin. Actually, is he the captain? Now that I think about it, I may have just thrown that in there without even thinking about it, but he might be anyway.
I think he is, but
I'll check it. Buffalo Sabres captain Rasmus Dahlin taking a leave of absence from the team. He's going to be with his fiance in Sweden as she continues to recover from a heart transplant. No timetable for his return. Head coach Lindy Ruff said that his fiance Carolina has not suffered any setbacks, but apparently he felt like he needed to take some time to be with her, understandably so, and so he'll be away from the team for a undetermined amount of time.
He is their captain, and I'm sure he's going back to just make sure that she still loves him. A new heart, it's an affair of the heart.
Boy.
The heart wants what the heart wants, and we'll see if her affections for Rasmus have changed now that she has a new heart. But no, hopefully everything is going well with her, and this is just precautionary, him being a good boyfriend, fiance, future husband, partner, and all that to check in on her and be with her when I'm sure she is looking for some comforts after a very strenuous, I'm sure, time.
Yeah, I think we talked about it on the show. They were on vacation over the summer, and she basically had like heart failure, and is very lucky to still be with us, from what I understand. So
yeah, my goodness. That is, and
Very
of
young.
all the things, there's things you can donate to other people. A heart ain't one of them. So you gotta.
Well, you can, but you don't need it anymore if you're in that.
Well, that's
situation.
what I mean.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's like, if somebody needs a kidney, I can give them a kidney and I'll still be alive. I'm a liver or something. You're going to give them a part of your liver. You can't give them a heart without being a one-way trip. So, yeah, that's lucky for her and good on them for letting her. I mean, who knows what the old days would have been? We see players taking time off for paternity and different family issues. Brad Marchand just missed a week to be with a friend whose daughter died. I mean, that simply was not the case 30 or 40 years ago and before.
For sure. Yeah. And was looked down upon, frankly, I think, by
you're soft. If you want to go hang out with your wife after having a baby. What are you talking about? I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, there's things that are important in life, and then there's sports. And I get that we all love the games and it's a business to them and a profession, but they're still human beings. And I saw an article about, or not an article, but an interview with an NFL player, just a kicker, talking about the amount of death threats he gets every week, whether he makes a kick or loses a kick because he costs somebody money gambling. And just, it's ridiculous what we've gotten to as a society with the importance of sports. And it should be, at the end of the day, a distraction and entertainment, not the source of your anxiety or stress.
Checking the Law and Order reports, Minnesota Wild forward Tyler Pitlick assessed a match penalty for an illegal check to the head against Carolina defenseman Jalen Chatfield, who we mentioned is now out injured. It's supposed to come, and a match penalty is supposed to come with an automatic suspension pending a league review. Apparently the league reviewed it and they said no suspension for him, which I was pretty shocked at, but as I've said before, if we're going to have a video delivered for why someone is suspended, if it's a high profile play, I would like a video explaining why they were not suspended, but they don't do that. So.
Yeah, you're never going to get that, unfortunately, because the league is shrouded in secrecy of their decision making. I'd love to see a video. I mean, there's no reason with all the TV broadcasts we have that when we go to the war room in Toronto, we can't be broadcasting their discussions. I mean, that why not? We we hear everything else. Players are mic'd up, coaches are mic'd up, and we get to hear that after the fact. We can't hear what the decision making is on whether or not something is offsides or goaltender interference. That's got to be shrouded in secrecy. And this as well, the discussion that and the word that you used is one that gets used a lot, but is obviously not the case. Automatic. That's what it's supposed to be. If it's automatic, then it shouldn't be up for review. It shouldn't be up for discussion. You got a match penalty. That's it. The review should happen when the referee calls it on the ice, and they should get together with Toronto, and knowing that there is a 1-game suspension that comes with this, are we sure this hit elevates to the level of a match penalty and an automatic suspension? Or do we want to make it a major penalty that does not carry an automatic suspension? That's where the discussion should happen. But we saw a couple of match penalties this week that did not get suspensions.
I didn't. Do you remember the other one off?
Yeah, Leo Carlson, absolute BS call against Evan Rodriguez, who skated right into his hip.
Yes, I do remember.
And it's like, well, what
he got a match penalty for that?
Yeah, he got thrown out of the game in a match penalty, even though they reviewed it. And I'm like, there was no hit delivered. He was skating in the offensive zone, and Evan Rodriguez skated right into him. So anyway, but that was supposed to be an automatic, and it was not. And that is the right call, but he should never have gotten a match penalty to begin with. And Evan Rodriguez returned in that game. Jalen Chatfield did not return in that game and is in fact on IR.
The NHL is reviewing allegations of gambling and financial manipulation by Ottawa Senators forward Arthur Kaliyev. This, according to The Athletic. There were reports out there. Well, I guess his former girlfriend had a series. I don't know if we've talked about this on this show or not. She had a series of posts on Instagram alleging that Arthur Kaliyev had stolen a bunch of money from her and had, been intimidating to her and things like that. Apparently to cover gambling debts, which is interesting because typically we hear stories of maybe, girlfriends, fiancés, something like that, maybe stealing money from a professional athlete because they've got a lot of money. Right. This is the first time I've ever heard of a professional athlete possibly stealing money from his then partner at the time. But the reason that this is clearly getting looked at by the league is the gambling situation. And this has kind of exploded in professional sports recently. We've had NBA players and even a coach arrested for gambling issues. A couple of pitchers in Major League Baseball were just arrested for doing things to manipulate, the outcome of certain wagers that were placed and things like that.
Right.
So, this is certainly the downside of the sports gambling when you get actual athletes or anyone involved in the games a part of them. So I'm not saying that Arthur Kaliyev has been accused of doing anything as far as, changing an outcome of a game or something. Frankly, he doesn't play very much to be able to influence anything like that. But apparently he's been alleged to be gambling on sporting events. So anyway, unusual situation that the NHL is looking into.
Yeah, I don't know anything about his ex-girlfriend, ex-partner, as far as her profession or what she may have been doing for a living that would have enough money in her bank account that he would be stealing from her.
And also, I mean, let's be fair, could be a scorned relationship where,
for sure,
but that kind of thing. That's why I think a lot of people didn't initially report on it, because it's just it's an ex ranting on social media, but apparently there's enough there to now be looking into it.
Well, you gotta at least investigate when somebody accuses somebody of gambling improprieties or something of that nature. So you got to look into it. And yes, you're right that Arthur Kaliyev is not a player that is going to be on the ice enough to impact the outcome of a game by himself, but he doesn't have to be to give information to
Mhm.
bettors
Yes.
about the game that night that would help them win or place bets. So if he knows a certain player isn't feeling well but is going to play anyway, maybe bet the unders on that player's point production that night or minutes or whatever the case may be. And the number of, you said it's one of the downsides of gambling. I'd love to know the upsides, other than
Well,
to the
the
gambling companies in
profit.
the league. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it for them. But I'm saying for everyone
Well, that's why
else,
they
there's
do it.
nothing right. But uh, I believe, and I would be surprised if I'm incorrect on this, that all professional athletes are banned from gambling. If there's a gambling account in your name, that's got to be a suspension, and a very suspicious thing.
Were
Now,
were you the one telling me about somebody was telling me that we're gonna allow college football players to gamble, or that was not gonna be illegal or something like that?
I did not tell you that. No, that would
Okay.
be a horrible idea.
Yeah, yes, it would
I
be.
mean, because it's, as we talked about, you talked about the pitchers and the ones I've seen. There was a guy, I think, for the Guardians that was accused of
Yes.
making a, basically you can, it's the prop bets that we're talking about. So if you don't gamble, and neither of us do, but if you don't gamble, you may not know that it's not just the outcome of the game, who's going to win, what's the score going to be. It's the prop bets that are the what are getting fixed commonly. Uh, the NBA allegedly had a player say, "You can bet my unders because I'm going to take myself out of the game with an injury in the first quarter." So you can bet individual players over unders on how many points they're going to have. How many shots is an NHL player going to have that night? That's something you can bet on. How many goals are going to be allowed? Who's going to win the opening faceoff? You can bet on that. And so an MLB pitcher was getting it so that the first pitch of this inning is going to be a ball. And he literally didn't even throw it to the mound. He threw it about, what is it, 60 feet, 6 inches between the
Mhm.
mound and the plate. He threw it about 50 feet. And damn, the ball got away from me. And he did this repeatedly. Well, that bet wins and go, cash your ticket. So it's that kind of stuff that they're looking at. And who knows what Kaliev, I don't believe she accused Kaliev of betting or tipping, but just having gambling debts is and then the concern is, who does he have the debts to and what are they leveraging him for in with those debts. So it's a bad situation. It's they've opened Pandora's box, and it's really gotten to a point where you see a bad call and you almost have to wonder, is this on the up and up? Because if it's such a bad call, we used to just think that ref was blind, what a terrible call. Now you have to wonder, is he making that because he's got money involved, or somebody he knows has got money involved in this game, and that call is part of it? A certain number of penalty minutes, the under, certain number of penalty minutes, the over. I don't know, but it's, you see some calls and you're just scratching your head trying to figure out the logic to them, or player decisions or coaching decisions, and it's unfortunate that we've got to this point.
As far as like signings and roster moves, and I did think of this last week. We talked about Mitch Love, the coach, former coach of the Washington Capitals, who has been fired, let go. And then there was the report that it was about domestic abuse. And I had thought in my head, I didn't say it, wonder what happened with Milan Lucic, because I remember he had a tryout with the St. Louis Blues. And then I never heard anything more of it. And apparently he's been injured the whole time. So the tryout, he hasn't been able to kind of fulfill his tryout opportunity. So he has joined the Blues AHL team on a tryout. So former NHLer Milan Lucic still trying to continue his hockey career now in the American Hockey League.
What is their AHL team? Is it the Peoria Rivermen still?
I wanted to say Springfield, but I'm not sure about that.
Springfield Falcons?
Yeah, but I could be wrong. I'll look it up.
No.
This amazing thing we have of the internet. I could
Yes.
just
All answers.
it is the Springfield Thunderbirds is their AHL affiliate in Springfield, Massachusetts.
In Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm.
That's not exactly close to them.
It is not.
That's
There
interesting.
are some teams that don't have the affiliates
Yeah.
close by. There's still a few out there. Seattle has theirs in California.
I mean, half the Pacific Division has the long distance AHL affiliate. Edmonton's in Bakersfield,
Bakersfield, yeah.
Calgary's in Stockton,
Nope,
and
nope, nope.
Seattle.
They moved.
Where are they?
They're in Abbotsford, British Columbia.
Oh,
Or wait a minute, is that Vancouver? I think
that's probably
Vancouver.
Vancouver.
Vancouver, it's Abbotsford. Calgary, I think Calgary is now in Calgary. Actually, I think they've moved.
Well, you've got an amazing tool at your fingertips there
Oh, I
that will
just
help
looked
give you those
something up.
answers.
No, I'm positive that Calgary's AHL team has moved out of Stockton and they're in Calgary now.
The Stockton Thunder are no more.
They are no more, unfortunately.
That's unfortunate.
And
Well,
the Calgary Wranglers is their AHL team.
There you go. Well, that you can't be closer than that.
That's true.
There's a few teams that have that. San Jose enjoys it.
Yep.
Toronto
Yep.
and Calgary. No problem there. But no, it's I mean, good luck to Milan Lucic. Right now, the Blues could use any help they could get. They're probably asking him if he's willing to play net. Can you play goalie? You want to give it a shot? Because we could use somebody that can stop a puck.
Well, apparently they're open for business. So we'll stay tuned for that. Final note that I have here, we had a passing in the NHL. I don't know this gentleman. It was before our time, but I enjoy learning about, not enjoy, the reason why we're learning about them, but hey, you learn some things. Mel Bridgman, who was a longtime NHLer, passed away. He was 70 years old. He was the first overall pick by the Philadelphia Flyers in 1975, and he was the first ever general manager of the Ottawa Senators. So there's a couple of pretty interesting things for him.
Yeah.
He was the captain of the Flyers when they had a record 35-game unbeaten streak in 1979 and 80. That's a decent streak.
Yeah.
He was also the captain of the Devils. For a little while, he was known for his thick mustache, according to this story here. He had played as well with the Red Wings and the Canucks. A 14-year NHL career, had over 1,600 penalty minutes in 977 games. So a rugged player, as they would say kindly. Had an MBA from the University of Pennsylvania, Ivy League school. That's fairly impressive there.
Very.
So there you go. Condolences to the friends and family of Mel Bridgman.
Yeah, and that's a guy that you said he was drafted first overall in 75?
Correct.
So he was probably, if he had gone to Penn, I'm saying he probably retired. I don't know if you have it there. He didn't retire much before you and I got into hockey in the early 90s. I mean, I would imagine he had a 10, 15-year career, which carries him into the late 80s. So a guy that we probably just missed the career of, unless he had a short career for some reason. But he was obviously out of hockey and in the front office by the time the Senators came around in 92 or 93. So I think 92.
Mel Bridgman played from 1975 to his last season was 1988-89 for the Vancouver Canucks.
There you go.
14 years. There you go.
And then a few years later, he's the GM of the Ottawa Senators as they enter the league. So, yeah, condolences to his passing, but a guy that, as you said, left a mark on a few franchises. The original builder for the Ottawa Senators, and a guy that a 35-game unbeaten streak. My goodness. Of course, ties were a thing back then. So,
True.
A little bit easier to extend that without the overtime and shootouts that we have now, but still 35 games. That's damn near half a season.
Not bad. Anything else that I may have let slip through the cracks here as far as any news in the past week that you recall?
I don't believe so.
All right, then. So hopefully we have it all covered here. Then that will do it for the first period of our podcast and of the YouTube show. If you enjoyed what you were watching the YouTube show, we've got 2 more periods coming up, especially our second period where we recap every game over the past week in the NHL. If you want to find the rest of the podcast, search Buck Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. If you were already listening to the podcast, the second and third periods are coming right up. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm Eddie Garcia. He's Doug Stolhand, and we'll talk to you next time with another edition of the Puck Podcast.